Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Huge podcast hosted by myself today, Pete Peterson. Hey, folks, we don't always talk real estate. We love talking with other movers, shakers, influencers, folks all around the world, folks who are out there dreaming huge and helping others to dream huge. Thus, the name of the podcast, right? So, we have our special guest today, Vince Shorb. Vince is the CEO of National Finance Educators Council. You can find them at financialeducatorscouncil.org online. And Vince is going to tell us a little bit about himself. Vince, how you doing today, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me, Pete.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do over there at NFEC.
Yeah, I'll start backwards for you. The NFECs really focus on promoting financial wellness in communities across the country. And we're in all 50 states, 60 different countries. So we're happy to be serving people there and really teaching them the basics about money, right? We serve all ages, kids through adults, and really teaching them and also providing coaching. So we train educators and coaches. And really what led me here going back 30 plus years is my own interest in personal finance. I was always frustrated in school. Like, why are they teaching us this? And, 30 years later, I'm like, why were they teaching us that? I've never used half of the stuff I've learned in school.
Yeah.
But I was always reading real estate investing books, entrepreneurship books, and just general investing books. I had a real passion for that. And I ended up investing in real estate at a young age, at age 19. And I would say, even though I've done a lot of different investments, that's always been my love and my passion. And early on, I really enjoyed, my friends and even my family members and even people older than me saw my early success. And they were asking me, hey, show me how to do this. How do I buy a home? How do I get in this? And I really enjoyed that period in life. Then I made some dumb mistakes, right? Things happened. And I rebounded pretty quickly, but I realized, hey, there are some errors I made that could have been easily avoided had I had some basic knowledge instead of just chasing the investing, the fun, sexy stuff. Hey, there's some basic foundation stuff I missed out on. And really that changed what I was teaching and how I was serving people. I served many years in the financial services, real estate market, mortgages, et cetera, and bought and sold, had rental properties, various pre-construction developments, all those fun things. But it's really, our company's focus now is, hey, how do we put people in a position so they have risk capital, so they go out there and capture some opportunities that this great country has to afford us, right? We have the land of opportunity, but without financial knowledge, many people miss out on that.
Sure. Excellent. So how does your program work? Do people seek you out, and do you have certain age ranges you typically work with, or how does that look?
Yeah, we serve all ages, and our focus is on training local educators and coaches to serve their communities. A lot come from financial services, schools, colleges, nonprofits, faith-based. So it ranges all over the place. But they have one common goal, which is, hey, how do I empower my community with this knowledge? So we train and certify educators and coaches, provide them all the resources and support needed to scale, fund, and grow their programs so they can continue to deliver this in their local communities and really get people the information that they need.
Excellent. So it really dials down locally. It's about those, using those local relationships. Do you have any representatives in, say, Richland County, Ohio, or I'm sure you have some in Ohio, I'm sure. Is there anything here locally that you know of?
Yeah, good timing on that, because as of October 5th or 7th, we launched our Ohio chapter of the Financial Educators Council called Ohio Financial Educators Council. And that's our that's our third state to launch. We have two more planned here at the new year. And we're planning within the end of the 2 years to be across the entire country. And really, we built out a local advisory board that has knowledge of the area. We're working locally with legislatures and those people across Ohio, partnering with nonprofits and various groups. We have a great board out there and just very dedicated, passionate people that are looking really for Ohioans to get this knowledge. Ohio does have some financial literacy mandates in school, but they're way too low. So, for instance, if you're trying to learn anything, you can't have a class integrated with other material, a teacher that's not trained, random materials being taught without having some expertise and insight from those that actually know how to teach personal finance. So we're really trying to elevate those standards so kids graduate with the knowledge they need to avoid the common problems I got into, many others do, going from high school to college.
Why do our high schools lack the financial literacy curriculum? Why do we lack the entrepreneurship, the real estate investing curriculum?
It's a great question, and I think it comes down to red tape, money, politics, right? Teachers unions, all those things converge, and we've been teaching the same subject for 100 years, right? If we look back to report cards, we actually have this on our site, images of report cards from 1920s till today, and it's the same thing: math, social sciences, your traditional sciences, and then English, right? In English, yeah, you need some form of literacy as far as reading and some form of numeracy for basic personal finance decisions. But less than 6% of people use anything they learned in science, where I think it's needed for those that are chemists, biologists, rocket scientists, great. But personal finance benefits 100% of students. And when I say personal finance, we expand that to really include income, entrepreneurship, and how to manage your money, because that's all goes together for us. And we feel it's a huge disservice. Kids are graduating unable to make even the basic financial decisions on how to manage their accounts, how to protect their credit. And just one simple credit mistake can put them off of opportunities for years. You go in to try to buy a home, you're excited, you save for down payment, you have messed up credit. That's going to put off this potential investment opportunity for years. So it's something I'm passionate about, getting this into schools, busting through that red tape, kicking in doors.
Yeah.
Because when I started in this financial education industry about 2 decades ago, I was like, oh, it's going to be in all schools. It just makes logical sense. We understand that the main thing that people are looking for with education is to live a happier, healthier life, and money's at the center of that. And today we've seen little to no progress. So I'm not patient anymore. I'm coming off with my gloves are off, man. I'm ready.
Vince is going to make changes, man, changes that are going to be for the better. Society has really set us up to fail. When you think about it, we're coming out of high school, heading into college. We make a couple errors with our credit. We go from that to bad to terrible credit. Then we have $100,000 in college tuition debt.
Yeah.
Then we get married, which costs about, I don't know, what's it cost to get married these days? 40, 50 grand or some stupid number if you don't have your parents to help. Then you go buy a huge house, which you can barely afford. And that's a whole nother pile of debt. My goodness, and I think that just because that's a societal norm, if they taught, and I'm going to tie this back into real estate, and you guys probably teach this as well, but if they teach you the number one thing is to house hack, go buy you a duplex and let someone else subsidize your mortgage payment. If not, pay for the entire thing. You can buy a duplex for 3.5% down, FHA, and you can live in one side and rent out the other. And you can start to get ahead of the game a little bit instead of your entire life trying to play catch up from behind. I think that would be huge. And I love the fact we talk it and preach it all the time. Here you are actually doing it. It's amazing. And I can't wait to see your curriculum take off, especially in the Ohio area. Super excited for that. Do you think, you mentioned the red tape and all of that stuff. Is there any way that you integrate into schools, or will you always be a competitor of the schools?
Yeah, we work with a lot of schools. It's just not on the scale we want. Typically, our clients are private schools, which are more business minded. I can have a business conversation with a more of a charter school or something. We come from the same space, right? Like
Right.
you and I can have a conversation about business. Okay, does it make sense? Let's move forward. If not, okay. You can't have that conversation with public schools. I feel like beating my head against the wall.
Yeah.
You'll say something that makes complete sense. They'll agree. They'll be like, okay. And then it's red tape central for years. Who our clients are oftentimes is passionate teachers and principals that say, hey, I know this is needed. I know my kids need it. I'm willing to invest my own money, my hard-earned money from a teacher salary to make sure my kids are getting that. That's how committed a lot of our teachers are, and kudos to them. And again, we're working the red tape, we're working that legislature, we're working those types of things. But it is a battle. And just to if we look at, hey, what people are actually utilizing, Very few people use algebra. Very few people use their sciences. Very few people, we have computers now. We have computers. I can ask Google what for geography, I took a half semester of geography. I can ask Google, hey, what's the capital of Bolivia? I know in a second, right? So times have changed, the subjects haven't. And I think personal finance, and we call it FLEC subjects, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and career planning, that would set the stage for people to really make that transition from childhood to adulthood where they're managing their finances in an effective way.
Yeah, and I hope that folks can effectively make the transition, and they're not just coming to you and finding you when they're in too big of a hole already, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's, we want to try and educate folks from the start. I think that's key. So how do folks sign up? What does it cost? And how does that look?
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in being an educator or a coach, we have a variety of things that range from $300 to a few thousand. And really the goal is to not just teach them on how to do it, but to give them everything that they need to actually execute. We didn't start off as a council. So we didn't start off as, hey, the council. We started off boots on the ground, delivering financial education and coaching. And we realized, hey, there's processes, procedures, and systems that are needed to streamline so you can actually serve people more effectively and do what we love, right? Which is teaching people about money. And you're doing the same thing. You're teaching. We love it, right? Now the emails, the marketing, the registration, the setting up the Zoom links, all that stuff, that's always kind of the pain. So we don't want to just teach them on how, but provide them all the process procedures so they can actually execute that in an effective way. Our website's financialeducatorscouncil.org. Our Ohio chapter is oh.financialeducatorscouncil.org. And we have a great partner out there, Irene Day, who sponsored that chapter for the first year. So we're very appreciative of her, and just the great push forward, across Ohio. I think is a key state. It's a production capital of the U.S. Great people out there, and I think they want to see change with personal finance, so their kids are protected, so the next generation is protected, and it really strengthens the community from the inside out.
So essentially the coaches or the educators are going to the website first. They're getting signed up for. Run that by me again. What's the cost involved with that?
Yeah, it runs for coaches and educators 300 to, let's say, 3,000 ish
Yeah.
for everything that they
So
need
they can
to
get up and
execute.
running, so they can go out and serve their community. And this
Yeah,
is
and,
the
and
business. This is the business model side of was what I'm asking you of what you do. So then once they get all the license and the package and everything from you, they can go out and serve their community. And do their students pay for that service from them?
it varies, but yeah, many times they do. So there's a variety of models. So financial services uses education as a way to build relationships and to acquire educated clients as consumers. Nonprofits are using it as a way to build their pilot programs and then use that report to get funding. Colleges are using it as a way to acquire clients, acquire students, and keep them there and keep their student loan debt low so they avoid compliance issues. Banks, credit unions, similar with that. Then you have your teachers, which are just oftentimes doing the kindness of their heart, really trying to make a difference. You have faith-based organizations. You have entrepreneurs that are looking to serve either organizations or individuals, and they all have the opportunity to charge if they want, leverage grant funding,
Excellent.
sponsorship funding. So there's a variety of models just depending on the individual that's we're working with.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that down for me. So, in other words, yeah, like I think you mentioned churches. So this could be something integrated right into a church's curriculum, right into a church's existing website, let's say,
Yeah,
right? Once you have the coaching and the package from NFEC in place and the education, you can then go and turn that and open that up to share and to help others, man. Yeah, so
exactly. And it's all around the principle of good stewardship, right? Being able to be in a position to take care of others. So I think it integrates with really a lot of causes. And I think it's one of the biggest social issues of our time. and we have a solution, and we have a way to really help people. Now, there's always, you can be the smartest person on personal finance. There's always going to be risks, things that can happen, but we're going to put them in a better position to, be leading toward a more, sustainable, successful and secure future. And that's really the goal. And, we wish people well on their journey, and we want to be there to support them as well through education, guidance, and just that general support. And again, it's not just, this is one model of education. So we typically our graduates are doing classroom, Zoom meetings, Facebook Lives, or one-on-one coaching, but podcasts are a great model to reach the masses. Blogs, the things that you're doing on dreamhuge.com are very similar, aligned, right? So I consider us all one family of educators. You're on the content development side. We're more on the professional development for those educators, and really trying to serve them so they can go out and be that personal connection in their local area. And I think when you have those relationships, and just thinking back to one of my first real estate deals I bought when I was a waiter, one of my regular customers, he was a realtor, and I was always picking his brain, and he told me about this property for across the street condo in Huntington Beach, still have today. And he was telling me about this deal, and it was a pre-construction, and ended up buying that with my gym partner at that time. So it's just interesting, how, when you have a local connection, I think opportunities open up, but also it's nice to just know, hey, there's somebody there to support you like he was for me.
Yeah, those local connections, those local mentors, they are everything. They're there for your support. They're there to show you in real life, in flesh, this can be done. This is how I did it. It's easy. Just follow me. It's not a secret. Just copy what I'm doing, and you can do it as well. And it gives you that belief that you can do it. That's a cool story. So, and real quick for the listeners and the viewers, if you would touch on maybe just financial wellness as a subject, and where do most folks mess up when it comes to financial wellness?
I try to break it down to the very basics. We have income, we have expenses, we have how much they're able to save, right? I think the biggest issue, you alluded to it before, is expenses. When I was in the mortgage space, I'd be like, people would be like, how much do I qualify for? It's like, well, you should really be asking, how much can you afford? Somebody that has no kids can qualify for the same mortgage that somebody with 10 kids has. Now, that person with 10 kids, you can't, that's not affordable to you, right? That 28% of front end ratio, that's not affordable to you, where this other person may be. So I always tell people, hey, watch the expenses. The biggest ones are housing. I see people with ridiculous cars out there. Come on. I mean, you don't need $100,000 car, and that's cool if that's for business, whatever. But I don't know that many people that need that for business, unless you're wealthy and so forth. And that's great. So I think the expense side is huge. And I think one of the biggest things are housing and car expenses add up quite a bit. We have behaviors and things that people fall into, but I always tell people just to keep it simple. Watch your savings ratio. How much are you able to save each month? And if you're not able to consistently save an amount that will put you on target to reach your goals, then you just need to either look at your expenses or look at your income. Hey, if you still want to have that, $100,000 car and so forth, well, then, hey, how do we bump up that income so you can afford that and still meet your savings target? And I think that if we simplify it to that savings, what we call the savings rate ratio, it's really the key indicator I could tell of somebody's financial status, and I should say their baseline financial status. Then later it gets on to how they're using what they're saving, but just for the base security and to get them in a good foundation, what are you saving each month? Is it consistent? Can you grow how much you're able to save each month? If not, we need to address one of the two factors.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, pay yourself first, right?
Yeah.
You should be paying yourself first before all of your expenses. Save and pay attention to your savings ratio, I think you called it.
Yes, we call it savings rate ratio. It's a term we made up, but that's one of the main ones our coaches use to determine, hey, where is somebody here now? And it's just an easy one. We look at front end ratio, back end debt to income ratio, all that fun stuff, credit. but I think that one is one of our leading indicators of somebody's overall financial health. So it's one we rely on a lot. And when I tell people out on the street this, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. I think there's this big thing of personal finances. So, they're so complex, so many things to do. Well, no, it's just look at your savings. Are you able to save each month? That's the baseline you should look at. Yeah, credit, loans, all that stuff will play into that. Expenses will play into that, but that's going to be your baseline number you can look at.
Love it. Yeah. Save, folks. Save. Pay yourself first. Save and invest, and
Yeah.
live in a shack and drive a jalopy, if that's what I'm understanding, right? Okay, but that's an extreme example, but it's totally true. I myself am not a car guy. I myself, although I sell real estate, am not a house guy. I don't need a big house. I don't need a big fancy car. I've been through multiple markets, upturns, downturns, and I've always played it safe as far as and conservative as far as my own personal belongings. But every spare dollar I get, I'm investing in real estate, in cash flowing real estate. I can't help myself with that.
Yeah.
We'll continue to do that. But yeah, that's great advice. Look, folks, you don't need a big, huge house. Those are only more expensive to live in. You definitely don't need a big, fancy, expensive car unless you're in the racing business. So yeah, keep it simple on that stuff. Great advice from Vince Shorb, the CEO of NFEC, National Financial Educators Council. Well, thank you, Vince. That was a great podcast. We're up over 20 minutes already today. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave our folks with?
Yeah, Pete, I agree with you on keeping the overhead low, safety first. There's unexpected things in the world. Who would have expected COVID, right? We need to make sure you're secure, happy, healthy. Think back a couple hundred years when people were, in survival mode all the time. We're in this luxurious time. Anything's at our, we have information at our disposal. I can call food. They'll be delivered to my home in 5 minutes, but don't get caught up in that. There's a reality of life. It requires hard work and focus to make sure you and your family are okay. I appreciate the work that you're doing, Pete, and your team, and I look forward to talking here with you soon.
Likewise, Vince. And one more time, where can folks find you?
financialeducatorscouncil.org, or reach out to me personally on my LinkedIn, Vince Shorb, SHORB.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate you, buddy. And
Yeah,
thank you. Hopefully you listeners got something out of that today. I know I did. And it's always a good refresher to talk that. So thank you, Vince Shorb. Thank you for listening to and watching the Dream Huge podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, remember the rules. Work hard, never give up, and dream huge. Let's see the guns, Vince.
Let's do it.
Boom. Yeah. All right. Have a good day, buddy. Thank you.
You too, buddy. Thanks, Pete.